Money. Let's talk about money. Let's talk about the money that my opponent wants to spend and the money that we don't think should be spent. She wants to compensate the delegates. Now, it is true that if you compensate the delegates, you're probably going to get a lot more delegates. People will be volunteering all over the place to be compensated for being delegate. We don't have a lot of background in doing that in the organization of staff analysts because, in fact, we've never done it. For 52 years, we thought it was a bad idea, and we still think it's a bad idea. Why? Well, for one thing, if you're compensating delegates, you're not necessarily going to get people who are there because they're idealistic or because they believe in the union or because they identify strongly with their fellow workers or because they have an enormously strong sense of justice. It could be they're just coming because they'd like the compensation. There's a further problem that if you have a large group of such people all living off the union because of the compensation, they might also become, I guess the word is corruptible. Well, certainly more likely to be corrupted than your average delegate we have now. The average person we have now is just an ordinary, everyday member of the organization, staff analyst who believes in the organization and therefore is more active than average. But such people also tend to be very true to their principles, and that's kind of a good thing. But we're told if we compensate the delegates, they'll become more powerful. She actually used that word, they'll become more powerful. I don't know how you can become a lot more powerful than the uncompensated delegates and activists and trustees and all the other folks who have been working for OSA without compensation over all these years. They've taken it from an organization of 12 volunteers who felt strongly that there should be representation for people like us. They kept it going for the next 8 years before they got any help from any union whatsoever. They kept it going as it was growing with some help from the Teamsters and from the local 371. And then when those groups both walked away from it, they kept it growing after that as well. In fact, at this point in time, I think we represent, for welfare fund purposes, active and retired, about 8,000 people. That's pretty good growth. It does show a certain amount of powerful people behind it over all these years. All the delegates, all the alternate delegates, all the chapter chairpersons, all the trustees, all the voluntary trainers, and all the people who help us out on courses and everything else. They're wonderful people. And we don't pay them. And as a result, your dues are lower. So if you don't mind, this is a really bad idea that we should go off and revise our entire union to put it on a cash basis so that some people out there who don't want to do this because they believe it, because they care about it, can get compensated. I guess that's what I have to say about that.